Happy Monday. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. Happy February. We made it, team. 1 month down.
We did, and that damn warthog said we have another 6 weeks of
6
winter.
weeks. I was wondering if you were an observer of Punxsutawney Phil, if you
I
wanted to know what he was up to.
I am deep in the lore. I woke up early. I was excited to see that little rodent shorten my winter, but just like all rats in my life, it let me
Wow.
down. Now I
Very
don't know what
feisty.
his I don't know what his hit rate really is. I feel like the the groundhog's percentage of correctness is basically 50-50. Like we
Who's
should
better
maybe
at this? Trump at endorsing candidates to win or Punxsutawney Phil at predicting the length of
yeah.
winter? Like who
Yeah.
gets it right more often? And I
Well,
guess
I think
technically an endorsement doesn't guarantee a win.
yeah, and I think I'd like to see us perhaps try a cuter animal. Like if we're only going to have 50-50, can we have like a little kitten pushing a tennis ball into either longer winter or shorter winter, or
Interesting.
you know, a hedgehog, they're really cute. Some
I
sort
always like
of
the hibernation aspect of it. Like they have this, what is he? He's a groundhog. He's
yeah.
he's underground, and basically the legend is he comes up and is like, "I'm cold. I'm going back to bed." Can you imagine if that was how we got to live our lives? And you're like, "Ah, it's too much snow. Got
Yeah,
everyone's got to stop working."
for 2 months. Not just
Yeah.
like tomorrow. He's like, we'll come back and I will check it out in two
No,
months
he
and
checks
see.
it once and then is like, "I'm either coming out right now or I'll see you in 6 weeks."
Yeah, I am not a fan of Puxatawny Phil. Uh, you
Would you
know,
go to the big celebration though?
I would so that just to make sure nothing bad would happen to him. I would just
That
go
sounds
there
like
to
a
make
threat.
just to make no, no, that's not a threat.
I don't
That's
know.
not
It
a
didn't sound good, team.
I just want to go make sure he's okay. I want to make sure he's getting all his vitamins and he's his lymph nodes are good and not swollen and
Do you
you
think
know
that that part of Pennsylvania has a whole like black market gambling and somebody's like corrupting the groundhog on whether or not it's
oh,
going to see a shadow?
I bet you, yeah. The well, yeah, Phil apparently only has a 40% hit rate. We're celebrating somebody who's wrong 60% of the time.
Well, and also how much of this
Spring
is
is
human
here.
error? Like, does he see his shadow? Because the video I saw today, it looked like the guy was reading from a scroll as if Phil had written us a message himself. How much of this is the humans deciding what's what? And poor Phil
Yeah.
is out here like, you guys are corrupt. I never said that.
Yeah, he doesn't have his own voice. So I think I would like to
Big
put my name in
Punxsutawney
the
is
hat.
taking over. You're gonna become the groundhog?
I mean, I'll put on the suit and I'll come out and I think I can get it right 41% of the time. I feel confident. Today, so we had a lot of stuff going on over the weekend. We had the Grammys. Um, you
I love
know,
culture and music. I'm good at it and I know all about it.
yeah, I mean, all you really kind of need to know about the Grammys is that it's a bunch of super rich people telling the plebs what we should be upset about. And
Hmm.
it's largely backfired and has been met with a significant amount of mockery online, which is warms my heart on a day in which we have 6 more weeks. 40% is really good for a rat, though. Yeah, that's true. 40% is pretty good. He doesn't have the benefit of a farmer's almanac. He
Mm-mm.
doesn't have any
He's going
10-day
off pure
forecasts.
vibes. Well, he feels it in his bones, and that's what he goes with. I mean,
Yeah, you got to respect that. I
that's
guess.
kind of cool.
Yeah, you got to respect that. Someone said, "Do you see Sticks got in some sort of fight?" I did. Um, I don't know who with, but I'm praying for him.
Yeah.
And then East Side says, Groundhog's Day is a pagan defiling of the Christian feast of Candlemas. Puxatawny is the new is the new Gomorrah. I agree.
Oh
I
my
co-sign.
gosh, new.
Melanie Mack would. Yeah.
We gotta ask Melanie for that. It does seem sort of unfair. We don't know if Punxsutawney Phil is a follower of Jesus Christ or not. You know,
Well, that's true, but we know he's going to hell. CrossFit said, I've noticed a lot of young, normally 35-year-old Democrat socialists winning elections lately. Do Republicans have any young people running for office? Sure.
Yeah.
Famously that Fishkin guy's pretty young, right? In Florida.
Jay Vance, pretty young. You know what I'm
JD
saying?
Vance is young.
Maybe he's not that young now, but he was one of the youngest during his time. I think I'm not up to date on a ton of local elections, but I have known young people to get elected on a state level, in their 20s. They maybe just don't get the national headlines. Also, it's maybe not as flashy as being like, we're socialists, like
right.
They're not
young
just Democrats,
people,
they're socialists.
Yeah, the young people want young people. Republicans want someone who's smart. And the crossover, it just isn't as effective, I don't think. There was...
I knew a guy... Sorry, keep going.
No, yeah, go.
I knew a guy from Missouri, Chris Lonsdale, who was a state rep, and he ran a guy in his, I think, mid to late 20s, and he beat his high schoul principal, which I thought was so
that's
funny.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, I think there was a pretty big upset. I think, was it Friday, last week? A Democrat won in a Trump stronghold. So, like, everyone's like, midterms. Look, here's the thing. Republicans are horrible at showing up for anything but the presidential election. Am I wrong?
It's not their strong suit, I will say.
They will always whine and complain about the midterms and losing Supreme Court, stuff. They don't show up. So, what we need to do is find a way to mobilize Republicans on these midterms. Oh, they'll bitch about losing the midterms. It'll be they'll complain about, oh my God, a mega stronghold just fell to like whatever. Cool. Did you vote?
But you know what I find interesting? I heard about this race reported a couple different times, and this has happened before. Like, not everywhere that is a Trump stronghold wins completely down ticket in every election to come afterwards. It's not a lock. But what I found interesting was NBC News during their morning show was trying to downplay this. Like, they brought on some
They're worried.
Like, right. The hosts were like, isn't this considered a bellwether for midterms? And the host, who is obviously, in my opinion, a left-leaning political consultant, was like, well, I mean, we don't know that it was a bellwether. It is interesting, but, they don't want to become complacent because they have their own party identity struggles. And I know I sent you an article about fundraising. Like, as much as I think
Republicans are raising big.
Right. And as much as I think we need to harp on them to be like, no, don't get lazy, you got to go because we have a history of it. I think it's not as like lock that it's going to be a blue wave either. I think everything is still up in the air.
Well, I think that I'm a great example of somebody who is well, not anymore nowadays because I'm more involved, but let's say 2016, right? Mm-hmm. I was a Trump guy, not a Republican.
Yeah.
So like, and there are a lot of Trump people who are not Republicans. 5 to 10 million probably of the 70 million that vote for him are not down the line Republicans. When he won his first 2016,
was like a great get out the vote effort just by being a candidate, which is it's hard to compare. Like, I don't know that Democrats have someone similar.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I think it was 2016. They were talking about a lot of first-time Republican voters for Trump. And that does not translate. People want to go and vote for Trump to stick it to the man. They don't really give a shit about Congress because they don't really understand. It takes a while to really understand. You had to suffer through the second part of Trump's first term to really understand why losing the House and the Senate is a bad thing. And so I'm hoping that they play on that this midterms.
Right. And it makes sense why then, following 2016 through even now, when people were trying to excite energy for congressional, Senate, whatever state level races, they tried to mimic Trump almost too much, in my opinion, because he's just so unique. It's hard to really replicate his cadence and everything like that. But people wanted to signal, I am like him. Me too. We're the same. And it's for some people it worked and it launched political careers. And for other people, I think it made them seem less authentic. It made them seem like they were bandwagoning when maybe they were probably good candidates anyways. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm not freaking out about one election in one quote unquote Trump stronghold because I know that Okay, Wisconsin is a Trump stronghold for he was in 2020. I'm sorry, 2016, but they went back to Biden in 2020, then back to Trump bigly in 2024. How can you look at a state like Wisconsin and say anything is indicative of, Trump? And really, Texas is trending more purple, and part of that is you had a lot of money move there from California and bring their voting with them. And this race was in Texas, I believe, that the Democrat won in. So I'm not stressing too much about it, but it's interesting. Some of the stuff, now I know basically everybody who was live before us has basically already talked about the Epstein stuff. Anything in there that, and obviously I'm sure Wednesday will be the Luke hour when Luke has lots to say.
Right. When we have the expert on, I mean, I don't want to,
Yeah,
I don't want to say anything that can't be said then. What do you think of it?
People aren't going to like this take.
Ooh, spicy. Here we go.
It was a lot of nothing. It was a lot of nothing. I saw people saying the biggest revelation is the Pizzagate stuff, which it doesn't prove even. It does have some suspicious. This is the problem with data dumps. You have massive, like, out of context emails. Like if I went back to my work email, back when I worked in corporate America for like 4 or 5 years, I bet you I sent 500 emails about pizza. You know what I mean? Like ordering pizza for the office. Do you want a pizza this, pizza that? And people are like, look at this. They're ordering cheese pizza. Child predator confirmed. And I'm like, look, it's worth looking into. Jay-Z was there. Okay. I mean, within an hour of releasing those files, the attorney general came out immediately and was like, we're not pressing any new charges.
Right.
So I know people react emotionally and get mad at me for saying that. This isn't me like sweeping and saying that Epstein wasn't a creep. It isn't me saying that there wasn't, sexual, crimes and things like that. I'm just saying I saw a lot of people on the right that I really respect over the weekend taking like an out of context email and saying, this proves everything. There are people like, see, Epstein met with Netanyahu, confirmed. Like, we already knew that.
It's not a new zing.
That's not a new revelation.
Yeah.
We already knew that he was tight with Israel. And then I'm like seeing people like, confirmed Israel. I'm like, I think we get like 70,000 likes. I'm like, where have you guys been the last 10 years? We already knew that. We already knew that there were, I guess you could say, they're like, oh, Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein, some woman claimed she woke up nude in a room with them. Okay. So, okay. And like, there were so many, especially when they published like that unconfirmed, I don't know if you saw that spreadsheet where it was like just Schizo's reporting stuff. Like, I saw Tim cover this morning, Epstein's still alive. And I'm like, come on, Tim. Like, based on what? And although I would not be surprised if he's still alive. I'm just saying, if you really being honest with yourself and you look at what was released, was there anything actionable?
Right. I think that's interesting. I would also wonder, we have become accustomed to the red siren flashing, breaking, instant revelation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everyone wants to be the first. And this is true of like print journalism too. Everyone wants to be the first one to report the scoop. So that first like 24, 48 hours when all of these were coming out, I didn't see anything that was like super revelatory to me, but maybe it was to other people. What I have found more interesting is like, as people who are really interested in this, who've been following it for a long time, dig through the files, I find some of the other stuff, it's smaller, it's not as flashy as like met with Netanyahu. I find that interesting. Like, I just watched someone talk about how Catherine, I think her last name is Rumler, appears constantly in emails and talks about how she, they like get sushi, they hang out. Jeffrey Epstein setting up a makeup artist.
There's that
suite. And
the
she is
CBS News person,
well,
Peter
Rumler is like
Attia or whatever.
Yeah. Rumler is the head of high up at Goldman Sachs. So you
Right.
get these things where you're like, oh, interesting that she's allowed to keep her position. I thought this is what people wanted out of the Epstein files, like to see what powerful executives were in frequent and constant and friendly contact with him. Not actionable, like you're saying, but a more of a puzzle piece. And also for me, and I've talked about this a couple times. I've brought it up to Luke when he's on the show. The idea that there would be an abusive network of elite people trafficking children, young girls, things like that, and that when Jeffrey Epstein was pulled from the system, it all just went away, seems a little unrealistic to me. And so I would assume you would want to know who was involved then, who might still be involved now.
Yeah, and one thing I will say from a positive note, like it is continuing to open the eyes of normies. So like when normie YouTubers like Asmongold or like Moist Critical cover this and they get 4, 5, 6 million views on it, I do think that's still a lot of value. I don't mean to say that there's no value in what has been released, but I've been pretty much on the train of like, I believe that terrible things happened, but that evidence has long been destroyed. Like they're not going to release, oh, here's an email saying, I'll take 2 7-year-olds, please, signed Bill Clinton. Like that doesn't, if that email did exist, we're never getting it. Sure. There is some fallout, right? Lord whatever from the UK, he stepped down because he was in the emails. The sweaty guy, the guy that can't sweat, got dragged again. Prince Andrew. Yeah. This Peter Attia appeared in the Epstein emails 1,741 times. CBS is firing him. There is something about the person who bankrolled, was it E. Jean Carroll's lawsuit against Trump, was in the Epstein files. Candace Owens' handler was in the Epstein files. And so there's stuff, but what I want to do is try to avoid saying being in the files means you're a pedophile. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people making huge leaps. Like they ordered 2 steaks for this. They asked he had 2 steaks. And if you wanted more steaks, what does steaks mean? And I'm like, it's entirely possible that, when you go and stay, like they have a personal chef and that personal chef has, I only eat Wagyu steaks is what I want when I go to Little St. James. And they could have literally just been asking about steaks. Yeah. Or that other email where they're like, he's with Olga. I give you permission to kill him. People are like, oh, proof. He signed off an assassination. And I'm like, it could also be sarcastic. He could be like, oh, we're here at work. He's hanging out with this hot chick. Go ahead and kill. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't prove anything.
The idea that it would be code is at this point as realistic as that it wouldn't be,
right?
Like it's hard to say. And I understand wanting to solve the context. I mean, this has been a mystery that's plagued a lot of people, and people really want justice. I keep getting information like when I'm scrolling Instagram Reels because of John Benet Ramsey, because it knows I like crime stories, and they're like, this is who did it.
Yeah.
So I think it is interesting that it's like bringing in this whole other, like, people who want justice, who want to look at these crimes and have them be solved. But I think one of the challenges with the Epstein files overall is that we have to like decide, at least for me, I feel like the goal is to decide what do you want out of this. And Jeffrey Epstein's, from what I know, gone. He is not around to be prosecuted anymore. So who are you looking for? And while these, like we were saying, produced more names, it doesn't seem like there is a whole lot of evidence that comes up. And I don't want to live where it's guilty by association, right? Like there are, like, Jeffrey Epstein could send 100,000 cold emails to every wealthy person in New York, and therefore their names would all appear once in his files. But that doesn't mean they actually know him or anything else. I mean, this came up with like Donald Trump. Like, just because he was at a party with that Epstein also attended doesn't mean that they were like buddies.
Yeah.
On the other hand,
the same thing with Trump. How many times did the left put that picture of Trump up and say, see, he's a pedophile? It's like, dude, again, I'm saying maybe the power of internet autism will make some connections that the DOJ couldn't. And I hope.
And I would want a new call to action. Like I said with Kathleen Rumler, like if she is showing up constantly in these emails, and it seems like she has oh man,
no, you're good.
Big
you're
Goldman
back.
Sachs is getting me. If she is showing up constantly in these emails, and there's an indication that they were friends, like at one point she writes a statement that Epstein uses after he was convicted in 2019. Like it seems like she has previously denied this, and that's being refuted. Why is Goldman Sachs keeping her around? You know, like why is she protected? These are the questions that I would want to know now. Like, where else does the power structure begin to tip? But doesn't seem like that's totally what's happening. It seems like it's more becoming a fishing exploration for stuff we kind of already knew, or sensational stuff that people are.
Yeah, I mean, so like people write, Candace Owens has some explaining to do. Not only is Candace's biggest backer and close friend John Mappin in the Epstein Black Book, he was also good friends with Jeffrey Jones. He even has a weird picture of them together hanging up at his hotel. Interesting, like funny face emoji. It's like, look, as much as I don't care for Candace Owens, I don't think this implicates Candace Owens in Epstein's sex ring. You know what I mean? Like, there is a lot. Oh, that's the principal from Ferris Bueller, actually. That guy. But again, like, I think it's interesting. Is there a chance, Jeremy, that Jeff called you slurs on Xbox? That's the funniest thing to me, is that Jeffrey Epstein was banned from Xbox Live. That is hilarious to me.
That's the biggest revelation.
Yeah, he also, I think that he also was into like YouTubers. I don't want to name names because I don't want to, smear somebody, but like some large, he was really into Five Nights at Freddy's. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, he was like a big Markiplier fan. These are like funny to me, but not crimes. And by the way, just because he's also the godfather of microtransactions. Yes, he talked to Bobby Kotick, who here's a funny thing. Let me make this connection. Okay. He had talked to Bobby Kotick, who runs Activision, or more people would know it as like Call of Duty. Activision also includes King games like Candy Crush and things like that.
But for us,
and they own Blizzard.
We know just Call of Duty.
Most people know Call of Duty. People said, well, he developed microtransactions, COD points, which are on the Xbox market as CP when you buy it. And people are like, whoa. And I'm like, come on. Like, there's Ani Bonnie. Hey, good girl. She actually came into the office today. Hey, Bean.
Aww.
That's because, mom's gone. So she's like, well, I got to get my...
Mrs. Quartering's on her trip, so she's desperate for love and attention.
Yeah. Our friend is over today helping out, and she's playing with the dogs and helping out while I'm at work, which is
I feel like your wife is number one. You're sort of number two over here. Maybe the friend is nice, but not the same. Whoever's
playing with them is number one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Huckapop. But I mean, it's interesting. Maybe there's something in there. A few heads will roll just because of bad PR, but I didn't see anything like people were saying where it was like, oh my God, like he took a meeting with Netanyahu. Yeah, no shit. We knew that. Everyone knew that 10 years ago. And nobody cared then, but now, because that's the hot ticket on X. And by the way, just taking a meeting with him, again, as much as people want to say that, this confirms this, that, or the other thing, it doesn't even really confirm anything. There were a bunch of YouTubers that met with him too. Does that make them all pedos too? Like, I don't know. I'm hoping that more comes out of it, but I think what we're really seeing is exactly what most of us expected. Some salacious stuff. Like, there's that video of him dancing with some girl, and people are like, what's going on here? That's so creepy. The girl wasn't underage. Like, the girl was an adult who knows? We know that I thought it was interesting. They had a frequent drug buyers program on the island. Did you see that? Like you could get discounts on like MDMA and like, so I'm like, Epstein was probably just high out of his gourd, dancing around. That I know that it looks creepy because of the black boxes over the girl, but the girl is like a fully grown adult. And again,
also
Chat also points out
he could be creepy without being a pedophile, right? Like,
he definitely was creepy.
That's not the same thing. I think he probably was a pedophile. Well, he was convicted, so we know that for sure. I think there were probably dark things that happened, but not every photo is, like I said, I think sometimes they've been waiting for this for so long that they're willing to like bend what they're seeing to fit what they're hoping to have evidence for.
Yeah. I think hopefully we get more. Hopefully, like there's a lot we don't know from like the New Mexico property, all the videos, all of the hard drives they took. We don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. I didn't see anything in this list that really was a bombshell to me. People whose entire life has been covering Epstein probably see it differently because they know more about stuff than I do. Luke was pretty excited, so I'll be interested to talk to him on Wednesday because my question is basically, what does it prove? Right. The pizza references is odd, very odd. But outside of that, there was one. Somebody was like, "Oh, dude, I heard her whimpering or something like that." I'm like, "What if it was about a puppy, like a new puppy in the other room?" It didn't say like, "Hey, you were beating the crap out of some girl that I bought you, and I heard her crying." That's not what it said. So, and I also think these people are smart enough to know back then that emails can be compromised. The discount on larger purchase was pretty good, but he had no mushroom options. I know he did have MDMA though. The Vicodin prices were good. Everything was great, well below market. But I thought it was funny.
Well, hold on. That's way back in the day, though. We're not calculating for inflation.
Yeah, that's true. You got to adjust for inflation. But I did think it was funny that like the discounts went all the way up to 500 or more. It's like, how many people are buying 500 bags of ecstasy? Like, I'd like to see that rewards program. This is Jeremy hasn't looked. He just knows he has to say Trump is innocent. Again, I'm sorry you have TDS, STE 234. At no point in the last 15 minutes have I even mentioned Donald Trump.
I was
other than to use the example of how the left would say because he took a picture with Ghislaine Maxwell that he was a pedo. It was
also, I mean, one of the internet's funny reactions to me for this was Dick Cheney wasn't mentioned in the Epstein files at all. At least the Epstein files we have.
Mel Gibson wasn't in there.
Mel Gibson wasn't in there. Like, it's not just Trump. Like, there are a lot of people who the media doesn't like who, as it turns out, aren't even mentioned, which, take that for what you will.
Yeah. Penny Flanagan says, notice we won't be passing any unanimous bills to get the financial records. This will go in a drawer with Franklin Finders and the Dutroux affair. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to black pill, but I'm trying to be realistic. And if you go all the way back to even when I was in my old studio last year when the Epstein files started coming out, I've been on the we're never getting anything train. And that has been, even with this, with all the salacious stuff in it, not really anything that I was blown away by. But maybe the internet will find something. I hope they do. They said Epstein had a secret child 15 years ago. Bombshell email. Is it a bombshell email that he had a kid? Not to me. Is that a sex crime?
I thought it was kind of interesting that they're like, it was a bombshell because at one point I thought that like one of the rumors about him was that he was trying to have like lots of kids on some compound. I thought that was the whole thing about the New Mexico property.
Yeah.
Maybe
another funny thing. Apparently Bill Gates got a fucking STD from a Russian hooker. That was, I think, the biggest. That is a potential crime. And that impacted his
divorce, right?
Well, didn't he talk about, I'm paraphrasing here, folks. So Bill, don't sue me. But I thought I saw the tweet where it was like somebody either suggested to him or he considered like slipping his wife medicine to treat the STD.
I thought that was the email that he was trying to figure out how to like slip her medicine. And when they got divorced, specifically was like, yes, his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein contributed to the divorce.
Yeah, like that's if he really did slip her medicine and didn't tell her and gave her an STD, that is a crime. You know, I don't know. You know, that was an email from Jeffrey to Jeffrey, so it's highly questionable. Oh, that one. Jeremy, the kids was Mom Donnie. That I believe was fake. I think somebody said that was photoshopped. I think it got community noted, saying it was AI. But Mom Donnie's mom was loosely tied to him. Look,
she's photographed with them, I thought, like a couple different times.
Yes. Here's one thing that is hard to differentiate. Jeffrey Epstein was perhaps the single best networker of rich people that ever existed.
Yes.
This is undeniable. He was friends with more billionaires than anybody will ever probably be.
And that was how he built his I mean, like,
right.
That was his
Les
skill.
Wexner, like all these people, you know, Bill Gates, Les Wexner, the guy from the Rothschild, like, and so by the very nature of his networking, Bill Gates got me. By the very nature of his networking, he's going to have emails between him and Bill Gates and him. And, you know, I think he at one point, like Jeffries out of New York, like emailed him for a campaign donation. I think it's worth exploring. You know, if you have 500 emails back and forth to Jeffrey Epstein, I'm fine just taking a look. You know, I'm fine with the feds just saying, hey, is there some...
Yeah. Two emails, I don't know. 500, definitely different. And I think that's kind of what I was saying before. Like, if he's a networker, if he is like the true hustler, social climber, and he's at a party and he gets your email and he emails you and you're like, he's like, hello, it was nice to meet you. And you're like, yes, hello, I acknowledge we are now in contact. And then you never talk again. I don't think you're the same as someone who is like regularly scheduling lunches with him.
Yeah. By the way, huge shout out to everyone tuning in today. Really, really glad you could be here, especially if you're a new viewer today. I know Dan Bongino came back, and so we're seeing a nice little boost of a couple thousand probably new viewers on Rumble. We have a show, a panel show. Today it's Hannah Claire and myself. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's us and Melanie Mack. Wednesdays, it's us and Luke Radowski. We're live every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern and then at 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. So if you happen to be watching us on the homepage or you see us, you know, click through to my name and click the green follow button down below, because I do go live at alternative times and unscheduled streams, and you won't get a notification if you don't follow the channel. And we'd really appreciate that. Also, huge shout out to Rumble Wallet. If you haven't downloaded Rumble Wallet, they can freeze your accounts, shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you, they control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether, you actually own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This is not paper gold, not an IOU. It's real gold without bank storage fees or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's real power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer, no outside banking system, no permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. The wallet is yours forever, and get yours at wallet.rumble.com. It's also linked in the description below. And when you tip via Rumble Wallet, it goes straight to your creator. We don't have to share that with anybody. This other topic, so the Grammys were last night. It was pretty hilarious. My favorite thing was Billie Eilish, who is some ugly girl. I don't really know much about her.
Singer. I'm loving it.
Okay. So
Jeremy
she, of course,
pop culture, the best.
Yeah. She went out on stage, just like everybody, made the stunning and brave, and, you know, say that nobody can be illegal on stolen land. So the internet is completely roasting her, and people are now saying that they're going to storm her house. because she doesn't own it. She also got ruthlessly dunked on for having a massive gate and fence around her multi-million-dollar mansion. She also has a restraining order against a man who climbed her fence. So Americans are calling on Hollywood elitist Billie Eilish to return her $14 million LA mansion to the Tongva tribe after she claimed that no one is illegal on stolen land. She also could graciously host illegal aliens in her massive mansion. After all, she has the moral high ground. This is always the hilarious thing. You know, every one of these multimillionaire Hollywood people, you know, I didn't notice, I happened to notice at the Grammys, they had a fence around it. That's odd, huh? They also, you could only get in with a ticket and after passing through a security background check. Also pretty curious. Yeah, isn't that interesting? So Billie Eilish only wants people in the room with her who have passed a security check and were paid and were physically invited or paid to be there. Yet she wants the rest of us plebes to live with marauding invaders.
Yeah.
This whole like language about stolen land is, let me see if I have the clip here.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Cut to Sabrina Carpenter.
They cut to her like so stunning.
She was
so
like, I'm to the
brave.
camera. I was like, I'm gonna cut to you, and she's like, okay, let me prep my face.
She knew, yeah, 100%. It's like it harkens back to the remember when Ben and Jerry's said, "Oh, we have to give back Mount Rushmore because we stole it from Native Americans," and then within like 20 minutes, people figured out that the Ben and Jerry's headquarters was on formerly Native land.
Yeah,
I mean.
The thing about Ben and Jerry's, though, is they're like, they are old 70s liberal hippies. Not hippies, but like, you know, there's a huge flux of people who end up in Vermont that are just like wealthy people who are super into politics. Like, it's not surprising to me that those two guys would be all about it. But with Billie Eilish, it makes me laugh because I don't know how much you know about her, but she was getting really big sort of just before COVID. During COVID, she had some really big hits. She was, you know, touring, whatever. She's pretty young. She's like, I think 23 maybe. And
shocking.
She became famous when she was a teenager. Well, who performed at the DNC during 2020? Billie Eilish.
Oh, wow.
So it's not surprising to me that a young person who was raised in California, whose whole career is dependent on an industry that praises you when you say the right liberal talking point, is now coming out at the award ceremony and saying, you know, the slogan that everyone else is saying on the streets of Minneapolis. Like, it's not that it's not a unique thought at all. And in fact, it's just a reminder that she is dependent on the system that rewards her for churning out this kind of talking point.
Yeah.
I would love for her to give a political opinion that wasn't completely in line with the Democratic establishment, and then I would maybe take her other opinions more seriously. But until then, she is just saying what basically every precocious high school student knows will get them an A on a paper.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, basically every piece of land in the world has been conquered. You know, like I guess maybe you could argue like maybe Antarctica or like that has not been besieged numerous times, but like every piece of, of land that ever existed. And I would say they're mocking her on TikTok, which is her people. Like, here, exciting news. I've decided to move into Billie Eilish's $6 million Malibu beachfront home.
Big news, everybody. I've decided today to move into Billie Eilish's $6 million Malibu beachside mansion. She announced today at the Grammys that no human being is illegal on stolen land.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
So I'm going to be making a trip to America. I'm packing my bags right away.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to just taking possession of her $6 million Malibu mansion. No human being is illegal. So I want to thank everybody who's believed in me on this journey. I really can't wait.
He's even got the luggage.
Yeah, he's ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so funny. Like, I just feel like, do you think I'm just numb to it because we've been like hearing this nonsense for so long? Or do you think that like people out there are really like, yeah, slay queen? I just feel like we haven't seen the ratings for the Grammys, but they used to get about 40 million viewers. Last year they had 15 million.
Yeah.
A 15% drop from the year before that. I'm going to go ahead and guess that they were down bigly again this year. And, you know, I wonder if like I would never encourage this because I know the way the law works, but it's like, boy, it sure would be funny if people just started showing up at our house and we're like, hey, why won't you let me in? Like somebody goes to their let me in, climb her wall, and be like, what are you calling the cops on me for? You said that this is for me. Like somebody's probably going to do that, and it's going to be hilarious.
You know, but I know what you're saying. What I think is funny is that there is a purity testing on the left. I think that there will be people who are activists, community organizers who are really invested in these anti-ICE protests who will turn to the celebrities who wore the ICE out pins or Billie Eilish and say, it's not enough. That's performative. Where is the check? Where you need to be donate? Because more than anything, I feel like this was a like, please don't cancel us. We're doing the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I got this pin that says ICE out.
Right.
That is the definition of slacktivism.
Right. And actually, not all the time, but increasingly, online activist influencers, people who are followed because of their involvement in this type of protest, don't tolerate that. And so they will bite back, which is kind of funny. So I don't know that anyone will like storm Billie Eilish's home, but I wouldn't be surprised if
the left, some people on the left will turn against her.
Right. And be like, you went out there and used our political talking point to make yourself seem cool, but you're not out here on the front lines.
Yeah.
Which isn't, to me, a reasonable question. I don't agree with what they're doing. But if you were, if you felt like you were really devoted to a cause and some celebrity, you know, half-heartedly picked it up and was praised everywhere, you might be annoyed.
Yeah. I think we saw a little bit of that with the Palestine stuff, where they started to be like, oh, you said free Palestine, but you're working for. We even saw like that moron Hassan Piker's fans turn on him and say like, you're drinking Dr. Pepper. They're on the boycott list. Come on, please don't drink Dr. Pepper. And he's like, I drink what? Like, it's like there are true believers out there. Yeah, you sent this messy meme. I don't really.
Making me laugh because people like It really seems like he and Rokan, I don't know. I appreciate that they stuck with this. They were calling for the files to be released. They called it out when they missed the deadlines. And now it was sort of like chaos induced by this bipartisan effort.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I meant to get to that early. Like, again, I don't know that Massey changed anything, but I'm glad let me be clear. I'm glad the files are out there. And, you know, I think they should be out there. And I think that, you know, whether or not we get, you know, any kind of smoking gun or whatever, it's still good. Like, it's still good that they're out there.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if not nothing less, like Trump administration has said they're the most transparent administration of all time. This is part of that. And I think the longer it was not dealt with, the worse it was becoming for everybody. Not just Trump, but just lawmakers who want to move on and get other issues into public attention so that they can change and improve the lives of Americans. It really did take up all of the oxygen for a long time.
I do want to talk about there's a pretty landmark case in the trans madness I want to talk about too coming up here. But before they take us off the homepage, let the people know we've got lots of show left, folks. So, you know, make sure you don't go anywhere, but let the people know where they can find your content, because you're a content creator too. And yeah, people might want to see what you're working on.
Yeah, so I'll have a video out tonight. I'm talking about this weird case in Montana involving a stabbing at a high school, and I am kind of.
Is that the one the trans one, and then they covered it up?
Alleged, it has not confirmed. There's a lot of parts to it, and I like crime stuff. Not everyone does, but one of the things I found interesting about this is if you read like newspapers, you're getting one story, and if you at all interact with the internet, you're getting a totally different thing. So I'll talk about that. It'll be up in a couple hours, probably around, I don't know, 7 tonight. And I hope you guys check it out. You can find my work on Rumble, YouTube, and X. It's Hannah Claire Blee, like it's written on the screen, in all places. I appreciate you guys who have already subscribed. If you're new to this stream, come back tomorrow. See Astrocast. It's at 2 p.m. I love it. It's the best. Yeah, Hannah Claire B on Rumble, on YouTube, and on X.
If you're seeing me, then follow wherever you're seeing me. I'm really glad. It's nice that Dan came back today. We're seeing a nice little bump, you know.
X at one point, right?
What's that?
It seemed like he crashed X or something at one point.
He crashed Rumble at like 226,000 live viewers. And today we've got, you know, on a Monday, which is usually down for viewers, we've got over 15K watching on Rumble right now, which is incredible. So yeah, I hope if you're enjoying the show that you'll just follow the channel. Just click through on the quartering name, follow the channel. I'm trying to grow my Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at The Quartering News, one word, if you use Instagram. But I want to talk about this big lawsuit because it feels like, you know, this is the finding out stage of the trans madness. And, you know, I'm really, really excited. So we had a detransitioner who won a $2 million lawsuit against New York doctors who pushed a double mastectomy. We knew this was going to happen years ago. Like, even on this show, I feel like you and I talked about, like, there will be a reckoning. And because there was no reason for very healthy young women to be having double mastectomies or young healthy men to chop their dicks off. Like, there is no medical reason. And this lawsuit is going to be the precedent. I believe another detransitioner lawsuit maybe existed. I think, I can't be totally sure, maybe it was in Canada. But like, this is going to open the floodgates. Every girl that was convinced to get a double mastectomy because she was going through an awkward phase in her life by some teacher or doctor, they're going to get sued. And this breaks through kind of this idea that doctors are immune. Like they're going to lose these medical, they're going to lose medical malpractice lawsuits. And you're going to see trans stuff disappear. It's going to, I mean, once the lawsuits start going through, there won't be any more trans. Like it'll go back to being the 0.03% of the population that it actually is.
Right. I totally agree with you. I think this case is really fascinating because the two medical professional involved were a psychiatrist and a surgeon. And from what I have read about it, the decision or the fault was assigned in the majority to the and then to a lesser extent also the surgeon. It's something like a 70-30 breakdown in terms of how they are going to
and 1.6. Yeah.
The 400K is for future medical expenses and the 1.6 is for future and past pain and suffering, which, starting there, it's acknowledging that this procedure caused pain in the past and will continue to cause pain going forward, which is something that you and I have talked about. We've talked about Melanie Mack. We also had Chloe Cole on when we were at AmFest, and she talked about this, that there are long-term consequences and questions about the repercussions of being allowed to and encouraged to undergo the knife for gender confusion before she was a teen. I mean, but she was not even like a sophomore in high school when it started happening to her. In this case, this girl was 16 when it started. She's 22 now. And I think it's important that the court system is confirming that this is not this, like, if you get the surgery, everything is better, and the sooner you get intervention, everything is good narrative that so many of these pro-trans organizations have pushed. There is suffering. There is suffering.
You want a dead kid or a trans kid, Hannah Claire? Get this. It's not going to be long till like morning. You're going to hear this like on morning radios. Did you have, wait.
Cool thing.
If you had your breasts removed by a doctor during the years of 2024 and 2026, you may be entitled to, large gas,
that, I don't know why it's so echoey. There should be no reverb on that. Oh, well. There's going to be, you're going to see them. They're going to run them in like Portland. I
thought the reverb was good because it's like echoing out over the dystopian landscape, the way they do in movies.
There's going to be whole law firms that this becomes their thing, just like there are with mesothelioma and lead paint. There's going to be entire law firms that become really good at, suing medical malpractice for, I came up with the bit Jeremy read it. See, just so you guys know, what's a little bit different about my show, our show, is that we read the chat. Yes, your Rumble rants and super chats help us stay on the air, but I do read the chat, and I read chats that people don't even, you don't have to super chat for me to read your chat. I have the chats open at all times, and so there you go. Yeah, cutting off a perfectly good pair of tits is a crime. It is, and you're gonna see. I think
also preying on psychologically disturbed teenagers is a crime.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's the thing. Like, if you have a kid and you're like, wow, something seems really wrong, they're struggling, I need to take them to a therapist. Like, you're trying to do the right thing, and the therapist is fixated on basically finding trans kids in their practice or identifying them or whatever, then you are set up for a failure of medical complications for the body forever.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about there's this one detransitioner who basically talked about, like, they gave her steroids or hormones or testosterone at a young age, and now, like, her vocal cords are permanently damaged.
Right.
And something about when she pees, she needs to use a catheter or something like that. Like, this is her entire life now. And she didn't even get, like, she did have a double mastectomy, I believe. I can't be totally sure. I couldn't tell from the video, but, like, it was so clear to anybody with a brain that they were predating. Is that how you would say it? They were being predators of these kids who were young and vulnerable. When the doctors, who ghoulishly said to the parents, do you want a trans kid or a dead kid? Like, people think I'm kidding. That is what they were saying. That was a very common mantra for parents that were like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And, like, so they would say, well, do you want a trans kid or a dead kid? It's almost like I have some level of sympathy for the parents. I have less, given that it's 2024 and you're capable of doing your own research. But, like, it was 2022, 2024.
Like, there were parents that were like, yes, I wanted to have the bespoke kid. But there were definitely parents that were terrified and scared. And they turned to professionals for guidance because they are trying to do the best by their kids. And I think they were misled. I don't think that all the parents or all the families fit into one box. I think it's important that we start seeing these compensations for sure. And I also think it's important that kids who are on the precipice, who are like, I don't know, I feel awkward, I feel weird, maybe I'm a different gender or something, get to see these headlines where it's like,
you can see her. There's Onyx, first camera appearance ever.
Whoa, hello, Onyx. She never does this.
There she went. That first camera appearance of Onyx. Hey, Bean.
I wonder if over the week she'll get more friendly or, like, more comfortable going in there.
Yeah, she was laying on the carpet. She normally doesn't come on she doesn't come onto the carpet area because that's Huck's zone where he lays, and she, like, respects that. But now that it's only Dad, and then Dad's the keeper of going outside to play, and Dad's the keeper of, the turkey tendons and all the delicious treats that Mom usually gives her. Now suddenly,
you said you were away for a week so that you could win favor with your dogs, didn't you?
Yeah, here she comes, Abe. Oh no, she stopped. Okay, yeah, she's our youngest. She's all black German Shepherd. Wonderful dog. But it is the Huck zone. Yeah. Huck's not down here. He's up playing. Huck likes Jess, our friend who's here. So he likes all women better than me. That's just a fact.
It's but he's pretty loyal to you, if that's true.
Yeah, is she intact? They're all intact. Yeah. You stop a discussion for a cat. My God, you suck. Oh, welcome to the show. Yeah. First of all, that would have been one hell of a big cat. Second of all, welcome to the show.
All the time, team.
Yeah, get used to it. This is like a minor
we get a pet hashtag or something where people show us their pets who are also listening to the show with them.
Yeah, we need a hashtag quartercast pets, and then you can there she is.
Man, she loves you today.
She's kissing the cat. She's giving the cat a bunch of kisses. Colt's down here too. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting how this, I know how this is going to play out. I've always known how this is going to play out. Massive lawsuits. that are going to go. They're going to put these gender clinics out of business, and like they're going to
drive up malpractice insurance. I assume.
Yes.
You know, if you're a doctor who prescribes or treats for this, they're going to say, "Well, you have to pay 400 times more because this is."
That's a great point. That's where it's going to start. It's going to start the medical malpractice. The moment that this $2 million lawsuit passed, malpractice insurance, if you do gender mutilating care, is going to go through the roof, and it's just not going to be worth it. Dark says these victims should sue everyone that brainwashed them to get gender from. I agree, and I've said that for years. I totally agree. The teachers that secretly transed kids, the guidance counselors, we know these people existed. The ones who are like, oh, we let them change, we let them go into the closet and put on a dress. These people should be sued. These gender clinics who, you know, found a kid with a mild depression, but said, you know, you would be happier if you had a double mastectomy. Burn it all down. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This will be looked back at like as a period of like craziness in the United States. Like people like, oh, the 60s were hippies and the 70s were whatever. They're going to be like, this is Auntie Jess wants you. Go on, go play. And go on, kids. Go on.
You're reminding me, do you remember that viral, like, I think it was a CNN or something interview, and the man was like presenting as an expert, and then his like toddler daughter threw open the door?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's you and your animals right now.
Yeah, that's okay. I feel bad because they only get half as much attention when it's only me, you know, especially on work days. So over the weekend, I was able to spend a lot of time with them, but it's also warming up. So it's like 25 degrees here now instead of 20 below. Ooh. So they can be outside.
We haven't made it out of the freezing range either, but we're getting close. Or maybe it went above freezing for like a minute here today.
I was talking, I think I sent a tweet about this. It's like when you go from 20 below to 10 above, like it feels warm out.
I went out, wow, spring.
Yeah, I walked the dogs yesterday, and I think it was like 15 out, like real feel of like, it was like 18, real feel of like 10. I wore my winter coat and shorts. I was like, this is, I mean, I'm not saying it was hot, but like for the last 2 weeks, like I wasn't going out without hat, gloves, pants, winter coat, but like, yeah, it's absolutely wild. I do want to give a quick shout out to another thankful sponsor of this stream. This is Venice AI. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Venice AI. Look, Sam Altman recently announced that ChatGPT can now reference all of your past conversations. Do you feel comfortable knowing that an AI platform has access to all of your thoughts, dreams, sensitive questions, business ideas, etc.? What are they even doing with it? All sorts of crazy stuff is going on. I mean, Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. Meta retargets us based on our browsing and engagement history. Why do we assume that AI is going to be any different at all? That's why I always use Venice.ai. Venice.ai lets you use AI without handing over your sensitive information. Venice AI has an open source AI model. It utilizes leading open source AI models to deliver text, code, and image generation to your web browser. There are no downloads, no installation, nothing. It also has insane privacy and it's permissionless. They don't spy on you or censor the AI. Messages are encrypted, so your conversation history is only stored in your browser. AI can be extremely valuable, but we shouldn't need to give up our privacy to use it. The Venice Pro plan unlocks the full platform and features, including PDF uploads for summaries or insights, the ability to turn off safe mode for unhindered image generation, the ability to change how Venice interacts with you by modifying the system prompt, limitless text, and high image limits. You can use Venice.ai for a whole bunch of different things. You can actually go down here. You can choose between text. You can have it do video. You can have it, well, let's just go to text and we'll take the GLM 4.6. Let's just ask it, you know, the famous questions. You know, are there chemicals in the water that are turning the friggin' frogs gay? Okay, let's see here. Already gave me an answer. The claim that chemicals are turning the frogs gay is a popular conspiracy theory often cited by Alex Jones. Research has shown that certain chemicals, such as atrazine, can interfere with this stuff. You can have all sorts of fun. What Venice does is lets you, you know, if you want to generate an image, you can say this and say, a gay frog. If you're going to make the thumbnail, you can have, I don't know what it's going to come up with, but you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You get good at writing the prompts, and well, it is a frog, and it is kind of colorful. A frog wearing a pride flag. Let's see if that can get a little more specific. You're really, really unlimited, and you can do whatever you want, and it's not tracking it, which is good. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Exactly what I like to see. If you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or the government, you can get 20% off of the Pro plan using my link, venice.ai/quartering and code quartering. All right. Yeah. Thanks to Venice. There's a tweet on Elon. He wrote, there will be thousands of court cases of children who were mutilated by evil doctors. Modern day, how do I say this?
Mengele.
The school psychologists, psychiatrists, and state offices who facilitate this will pay. He's right. Mm-hmm. There will be a reckoning in the billions of dollars. And I bet you the lawsuits will get so big. Like the first person got 2 million. It's going to be like, oh man, because people are going to go out there and Jazz Jennings is going to get 100 million. Look what they did to Jazz Jennings and what her psycho parents did.
Money out of TLC because TLC
facilitated it.
Right. Where it was necessary. There was no going back. This was the plot line of the whole show.
Yeah. A couple of viewer messages. Local one, Nicholas says, Jeremy, I heard on the radio this morning, there's a town in Wisconsin being terrorized by an insane amount of aggressive turkeys. I haven't heard that. That sounds like that's we call that a buffet where I live. Steve Eisner says, if you want to see how weird Epstein was, listen to his 2-hour episode with Steve Bannon. It also goes into the origins of how he made all of his connections. McLeod says, there's a theory that Bill canceled Jeff's Xbox account because Jeff told him that he was disgusted for wanting to slip meds into his wife's drink. That would actually be funny because Bill Gates did own Microsoft. Microsoft owns Xbox. I could see that. McLeod, Texas went more red his past presidential election. Don't know how a Democrat-dominated Wisconsin is a Trump stronghold. No, it isn't, but it was overwhelmingly for Trump. When Trump won both times, if they weren't going door to door to harvest ballots like they did in 2020, I mean, Trump still got 68 million votes or whatever, even in 2020. So I think Wisconsin also had that famous 400,000 votes for Joe Biden at 3 a.m. Happened that still many of us are curious about. Kelman says,
bigoted to be curious about that. I heard it's wrong thing to be curious about.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, that's why we're on Rumble. We can say whatever we want. Kelman says, we didn't steal it. We conquered it. Put some respect on our work, son. I agree. Peggy Flanagan says, if you want weird spirit cooker from Pasta Fence is in charge of the child-related NGOs in the Ukraine now. Also, trafficking whistleblower got ended by a car bomb on camera. No media interest. Well, yeah, I mean, media won't cover it because that puts Ukraine in a negative light. And Ukraine there definitely wasn't 1,000 articles.
Ukraine unless it was done by Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a famous infographic of where basically every mainstream media outlet was talking about how corrupt Ukraine was until the war started and we installed Zelensky and used him for our proxy war with Russia. Dominion After Dark. I don't know what that is. Sorry, I can't read. D. Damon says, what are your thoughts on the SAVE Act? Think it will actually go through or just more Republicans not doing their job? Well, we need the SAVE Act to go through. I'm concerned it won't. The most important piece of legislation in front of Donald Trump right now is securing our elections before the midterms. And SAVE Act is part of that. I don't know if it will go through because there was, what did they just vote? Didn't it just not pass the other day? There were some Republican dissenters on another.
There's a couple things that are disputed. I mean, one of the issues is tack on weird provisions, so you'll get people who vote against it. So what I'm adamantly against this clause. I don't know. I think.
Well, they reject it until they get what they want added to it. That's how you end up with these omnibus bills. Yeah. Where it's hey, we all agree that we should have voter ID. Cool, pass it. Well, we also Democrats, they're going to say, well, we need another 400 billion for Ukraine, and then we'll consider, like, that's how these bills. That's why there are no single issue bills.
Have you followed the back and forth over the funding for ICE and Homeland Security? That's kind of like minorly holding up some of the other government budget bills.
Educate me.
One that comes up a lot. You'll see interviews, clips this weekend of different, leaders from the Democratic Party or Republicans going back and forth on it. Is you'll get Hakeem Jeffries out there being like, we need extra training and everyone needs a body camera. They need to agree that every ICE agent is going to wear a body camera and we need to know what's going on.
Well, now they want body cameras.
And then Mike Johnson will be like, nobody disagrees about the body cameras. Everyone wants them to be wearing body cameras because he's not saying this part, but like a lot of times it proves what's happening or that ICE is acting in a way that's appropriate.
The best thing to happen to police and race relations or combating race focus are body cameras. Remember famously LeBron James tried to ruin that guy's life. White cop in Ohio, I believe, shot a black girl who was racing at another black girl while holding a knife. LeBron James tweeted his photo out and like he got doxxed. And like if he didn't have the body cam footage, they would have ruined that guy's life.
Right. He would have been a sacrificial lamb because it was so bad. Well, it's just fun. And that's what I mean. Like, it's funny to go have this back and forth where they're like, we have these demands. And often the Republicans are like, yeah, okay, we're good with a lot of those. And then there's just like kind of manufactured back and forth because they don't want to ever agree. They like the drama. Sorry, I'm a little off topic here.
No, that's good. Yeah. So I saw they had like they wanted money. So they partially passed it. Right.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's like passed so that there can be 2 weeks of negotiations as
there's no shutdown
because it wasn't going to shut down totally, but like
I like the government shutdown because when that happens, suddenly welfare stops and like a lot of things get exposed. So I'm all for that, and especially because the last time they shut down, Republicans pretty expertly turned it on them, and like. When all those people who are on welfare weren't getting their checks, they were blaming Democrats, not Republicans.
And you notice they're not linking healthcare like this time to all of the remaining budget bills like they were last time. Democrats have learned from that one.
Yeah. But what's interesting is fundraising calls show RNC is vastly outpacing Democrats ahead of midterm elections. This says the Democrats have struggled in the Trump era. The RNC has tallied $172 million in 2025 with $95 million cash on hand at year's end. In contrast, now think about this. The DNC posted $145 million for the year, but only $14 million cash on hand and $17 million in debt. Thanks a lot, Kamala Harris. I don't know.
Was Beyonce worth it?
Yeah,
was Oprah worth it?
What is the real number here then, though? So they raised $172 million in 2025. Do they have $95 million cash on hand after that? Or do they have $95 million cash on hand plus $172 million? How would you read that?
I would read it as they have, in contrast, Democrats have posted $145 million for the year. Or are you looking at the Republican?
Well, I'm just trying to understand what the actual war chest is, right? So it says that DNC raised $145 million for the year with $14 million in hand and a $17 million debt. So does that mean they have $159 million in cash and $17 million in debt? They have 14 in cash, $145 million in
only. Well, because they're spending it too. Like they are raising and spending at the same time. So I think it's 14 million on hand. There is debt, and then also I would assume that some of that is pledge money. DNC trying to take me out over here.
Yeah,
I would assume some of it is money that has been pledged. If you're a multi-million-dollar donor, you're saying by the end of 2025, I will commit to giving you this much, but it's not necessarily cash on hand.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because so basically Republicans have $100 million in cash and Democrats have $14 million and they owe 17. That's what we know, cash on hand. What's wild is if these are just pledges and this is on hand, then that means the DNC is $3 million in debt. Like they have no money, which is wild. Now we do know that
unless they sell like an asset or something.
Yeah, like money
DNC
does
layup
not.
see.
Well, money does not directly translate like to votes. But this says both of the House committees started 2026 with 50 million cash on hand, according to filings. Mike Johnson said GOP's overall fundraising haul left him bullish on the party's chances to not only hold onto the race within majority in the House, but grow it with more members. Well, we got to get on our gerrymandering. We need to be doing, I mean, people are like, yeah, redistricting is bad. Yes, I agree. But if the Democrats are doing it, then we should not only be doing it, but we should be doing it better. Like we should be, we should be gaining more seats. That's a big thing with this deportations. You can go to California, deport 5 million people. They might lose a House seat or a Senate seat because they don't ask if they need to have citizenship on the census. That's a big part of this. And
you don't want an area where the population is artificially high. You're counting people who are here illegally, so they're not citizens on the census, which is supposed to count citizens, and that distributes the House seats and other aspects of power in the U.S.
Yeah, so that's what Trump needs to focus on, that citizenship requirement for census and voter ID everywhere. And it's really not a big deal to show. The only argument for not having voter ID is being in favor of illegals voting. That's the only.
I don't understand the opposition to voter ID at all. Is it just if you're a Democrat, you're trying to be like, voter ID is what, racist? Or I know for a while they were like, people
that's
can't
what they
figure
say.
out how to get it.
Yeah, they're like, well, black people are so dumb they can't figure out how to get an ID. That's what the Democrats are saying. Did you see this Kyle Kuklinski? Hey, Baba, were you just playing? Listen to how he worded this, and you tell me what do you think. This is the Democrat. Oof, okay, I see you.
Is this Huck saying, how could you let a girl in here?
Yeah, hey, Bean. Ani's here too. By the way, this is the guy that shot Alex Peretti.
Oh man, shout out ProPublica.
Yeah, this is what he is. So Alex Peretti got killed by a Hispanic guy desperately trying to be white, and the world's most obvious closet case. So here we have a far leftist using homosexuality as a pejorative, as well as calling this guy a race traitor. Is that weird? Isn't that odd? So being gay is bad now. I'm trying to keep up.
I hear that all the time about border agents and ICE agents. If you're Hispanic and you guard the southern border, every Democrat thinks that you are just self-loathing. It's the same thing with if you are a female and you don't support abortion rights, you have to just hate yourself. That's the only way it can make sense for people who are extremely left. Okay, I don't know if he looks like he's in the closet or not. That's not my place to judge.
Look
but
at all
also,
the replies. This is
not?
who you're. He's calling people closet case. Give me a break.
Is he not? Is he closeted or is he? I assume they're both open. I assumed all of these men are openly gay. Is that bad? The ICE
Kyle
agent.
Kalinsky is married to a woman. He's married to Crystal Ball, isn't he?
Oh, look, you're better at the internet than I am. I don't know.
I think he's married to Crystal Ball and he's raising another man's child. I think that's what I think. A lot of lore. I think, but this guy calling anyone a closet case is like me calling someone fat. Get out of here with that, dude.
Sort of a takes one to know one situation.
Yeah, brother, you enjoy smoking pole. I can, based on your looks, in my opinion. Yes, he is married to Crystal Ball. Okay, yeah. Kyle Seaman Demon Kalinsky. Yeah. Whoa. So people know the lore. I mean, this guy's calling people gay.
Of closet. Oh,
yeah, maybe sit down. This guy, I mean,
also, so you're saying it's bad to be gay?
That's what's so funny about it. Wait a minute. I thought being gay was a cool thing, empowering thing. Now you're using it as a pejorative? It's very odd. It's very odd to me.
Also trying desperately to be white. Interesting. I just
Why is he trying to be white? Because he works for Border Patrol? You don't know anything about him. Yeah, I'm not sure. So he looks less gay than you. Yeah, my N-word, have you looked in the mirror in the last year? So you're using his race and sexual orientation as a pejorative? Interesting. The left this just proves that their whole allyship and this stuff is pure fiction.
Yes,
It's
and
like,
that being white is bad to them. Let's just put that one on the table.
well, but like they only care about gay people if you're voting the way they want you to vote. It's just look at the way they treat like the log cabin Republicans or or black people that vote Republican. Like, you're not black if you vote Republican.
Right.
Like, what?
Joe
Like,
Biden famously said that, right?
you ain't black. Yeah. Did you see, by the way, Nicki Minaj over the weekend dropping some bombs?
Mm-hmm.
Saying basically, I don't know what her Twitter thing is. I mean, again, I don't.
No, I don't think that's her.
That's not her. Yeah.
Is she on Twitter or is she just posting stuff on Instagram stories?
She's on here for sure. Or maybe did she deactivate her X now? See, she's kind of getting a lot of blowback. So I'm wondering if she deactivated her X now, because these people always fold. Like they think I tagged her in something. Is that gone now? Oh, here. No, she's here. Okay. So to her 26 million followers, I understand why they mad. Like, nobody cares about the Grammys. This is 2026 versus Nicki Minaj, which is way more popular. She's at like a wedding at Mar-a-Lago. She's tweeting this out like, where is this?
She's tweeting about Lizzo. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she tweeted this. She's like red pilling a lot of people.
And the LGBT that's the opening 2 words of one of them.
Yeah. She goes, this had 200,000 likes. Any Christian who votes Democrat again is a fool. They're showing people that it's okay to disrupt church during worship. This is how they truly feel about you. The veil is lifted, no morals, no integrity. It's not enough for them to have an opinion. They've escalated to physical intrusion of places of worship. The demons inside them are so bothered all the time. I'm like, based?
And then
okay.
I like Scott Pressler showing up and being like, also, so a lot of them aren't registered to vote.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
There's no one more laser focused, like with a clear purpose in life than Scott Pressler. And I just admire it. Anywhere at any time, he is ready to register you to vote.
Yeah, 30 and hunters too. Hunters are largely conservative, and huge groups of hunters are not registered to vote.
That. I went to Trump's like return to Butler rally, and Laura Trump called Scott up on stage.
Yes, I remember.
And he was like there, and he just hit like several facts like that. Like
he killed it.
He's so good. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like
you can say clear purpose, and I think that's kind of interesting because Nicki is now like, I think your life changes when you feel like you're free to say like what you actually think.
Yes.
And she
or
feels
when you find
really
Christ,
right, and she feels called to alert people to the wrongdoings in the world. And that is interesting, especially when she has potentially a lot to lose. I mean, if your career is in the entertainment,
well, they called her out at the Grammys yesterday. Did you see that? No,
I didn't.
Well, Nicki Minaj isn't here, and everyone there cheered. They're like, she's at Mar-a-Lago. It's like, first of all, Nicki Minaj is still going to sell an ass load of records. She has like a new record coming out in March. It will sell. But on top of that, like, I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but like, I'm a fan of her bass takes, I don't
listen to her music, but I appreciate that she's like, I'm becoming a citizen. It's the right thing to do. I'm a Christian. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to say what's wrong. Like, yes, wealth and fame and money are important, I guess, but also so's your soul. And it's interesting to see her evolution here.
I think she really got, she really woke up with when nobody was talking about the Christians that were getting massacred. Mm-hmm. And Trump talked about that. And then it was like instantly, she was like on Trump's side. And then she wrote this with 200,000 likes, millions of impressions. They're flying in immigrants to vote because they reneged on all the promises they made to blacks and can no longer get black people to vote by default. I mean, based and true, and like, you don't think of her 26 million followers that here's Scott with a vote thing. When a black man in America commits a crime and gets locked up, when illegal aliens break into our country, Democrats reward them with freedom.
I'm telling you, Scott Pressler has identified his purpose and is like, I am here to register everyone on earth to vote.
Vance Minaj ticket. I mean, no,
that's too far for me.
Yeah, that's too far for me.
You and I talked about this for the lore for the audience, the first time I ever met Jeremy in person was at RNC when we were doing Timcast together live.
Yeah.
And that was when they had Amber Rose on, and everyone's like, it's so great. She's a young female famous Black lady. And I remember, and I think you agreed with me on this. It's like, yeah, cool, but like, don't act so desperate. Like, just because she is famous and a lady of color or whatever doesn't mean you have to be like, we'll give you everything, please, center stage. Nicki Minaj is interesting because, like you said, there was a clear interest when Trump was talking about what's happening to Christians in Nigeria. She was like, I resonate with this. I want to talk about it. And I respect that. It wasn't just a momentary, like, I'm here to kind of be on stage. And she has continued to pursue this again, when maybe people around her would have been like, you're going to cost us a lot of money. And I don't think she has to be vice president, though. Calm down.
No. By the way, shout out to everyone that stayed after we were only on the homepage on Rumble for an hour. We're not on the homepage anymore, and we're still beating Russell Brand, and he's on the homepage.
Oh
so
my gosh.
shout out. No shade to Russell, but
no, it's just,
you know,
it's fun for us because it's like awesome. The way we measure growth of the show.
Yeah, we're still holding at almost 10K, and Russell's only at 7,500. Sorry, Russell. But anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting.
No hard feelings though, Russell. We're just trying
nothing
to measure
but love,
growth.
Russell.
Jeremy's gonna blow up our friendship with Russell, who I've never met.
No, I texted him the other day, and he texted back, so like, we're good. I also saw this. Did you see these wokies are trying to sabotage Melania's movie? So people that were going,
oh my gosh, they're so bitter. I saw so many people be like, and it's failing, it's awful, but it has like one of the highest documentary release like opening weekends of all time. Like, it's a niche movie. I get that it's not going to beat like.
Yeah, did you think it was going to do $1 billion? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was going to do 5 million to 10 million. Like that's good numbers for a documentary.
So many Instagram reels of people being like, I was one of 3 people in the movie theater. Dude, that's been my experience no matter what movie I've been to. Like, very rarely have I ever been in a crowded movie theater in modern times. Sorry.
Not
so they're trying
COVID.
to go to Zootopia instead. Zootopia 2.
Well, there's a movie theater in Lake Havasu is giving people tickets to Zootopia when they buy tickets from Melania. They tell people that there's a problem with their machines. Is a problem that they don't want to give Melania document. We saw this with the Angel Studios human trafficking movie, where like theaters were having
about, but I can't think of the name.
Yeah, like they were having meltdowns. They were trying to do that. It's like, dude, like, give me a break, you know? And I mean, Melania, like, it's not for me. It's for Hannah Claire. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm not paying to see
go.
Melania.
I was gonna go on Friday, and I just like I couldn't work out. But like, I'm gonna go see Melania's thing. I wish I had been invited to the premiere in DC. I mean, this is like exactly what I want to see. I think that it's unfair. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna make us lose like 1,000 people with this, but I just want to say it's unfair that Melania Trump does interesting things as the first lady, and no matter what she does, the media is like, person. She is like during the
she's been nothing but pleasant, and they're getting some.
They're like, she just lives in Donald Trump's shadow. She is like, doesn't have any autonomy. She does all kinds of independent projects. She has all kinds of initiatives. They just don't talk about it. She's a supermodel. They won't put her on the cover of Vogue. She comes up with her own documentary, and they're like, nobody likes her. Like, it's just, I really applaud her for continuing to be like, you know, Barron's left the house, and so I'm continuing on with my project. This really is her empty nester era. And I don't know. I think that like there were first ladies who did things like invite the cameras into the White House to see the Christmas decorations. And people really felt like that gave them access to the White House in a way that they had never had before. And she is one of the first lady who also uses modern technology and is open to it. And constantly they're never willing to acknowledge that she's innovative.
Well, I mean, on top of that, like she has been nothing but kind. In fact, she's also like kind of called for temperature lowering stuff.
Sure, yeah.
She's been she wrote a letter to. I remember she wrote that letter to. I forget. She wrote one
publicly after Trump was shot, being like,
that one.
He's a real person. Good. He's my husband, and I just want everyone to treat each other with humanity. I mean, I thought she did really well.
I mean, they hate her so much. What exactly did Dr. Jill Biden do? Had dudes sucking cock on the White House lawn. that
covered
chick
up
with her tits out.
husband's serious mental decline, photoshopped him into some pictures afterwards. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
They were way nicer to Jill Biden. Why?
Yeah, she was really unlikable.
Like, she wasn't that interesting. And the things that could have been interesting about her, they never talked about. Like that she taught at a community college, which is, you could have a whole conversation about the importance and effectiveness of community colleges for Americans. And instead they were just like, there she is, welcoming the Christmas tree with Hunter's baby to cover up the fact that he ignores one baby. I mean, it was a mess.
Darkside says, I'm of Mexican legal immigrant. I'm against illegal invasion. My left-leaning sister and cousins hate on me all the time. Tell me I forgot where I'm from. Nah, players, I was born in the U.S. I'm USA first. Hell yeah, dude. And you know what? Like, yeah, I don't have any problem with people having some level of heritage, like respect for where they came from. I have never, like, okay, I'm 50% German, 50% Polish. I don't feel any connection to Germany or Poland. I was born in America. I love America. And like, I have zero interest in going there to like reconnect to my roots. Some people feel differently about that stuff, but like, if you're born in America, you should be loyal to America. Like, it's like all these protesters that are like, you know, waving Mexican flags. Like, if I go to Mexico, then like, if you think Mexico's so great, go to Mexico, but they don't. And by the way, Mexico doesn't want you. Like hey, Ruby,
you can like, you know, where your ancestors are from and be interested in your cultural heritage and stuff like that, and still be like, but we have to be here legally. We live in this country. I'm a citizen of this nation. You know, like it doesn't. This
goes back to the melting pot nonsense. Like, you should be, if you're in America and your parents were, you know, came here, you're an American. You're not Mexican. You're not Guatemalan. You're not Venezuelan. You're an American, and you should be proud to be an American. Yeah. And like, you know, there's tens of millions of people who are desperately trying to come to America, and you should carry some pride with being American. And I just feel like it's like the thing with Bad Bunny last night. He's like, we're not monsters. We're not whatever. It's like, hey, listen, player, you are an American. You were born in Puerto Rico, and you have always been an American citizen your whole life. What is this we nonsense, player? Like, nobody's trying to deport Bad Bunny. Okay, you're an American citizen. So stop trying to, like,
Hispanic following, and so therefore
he's virtue signaling to them, right? It's like, nah, dog, you've always been an American citizen, and these are the people I hate the most. It's like, you're allowed to criticize America. I'm not saying that, or our policies or whatever. But this whole thing, like, I'm an American, but I'm actually Venezuelan. No, you're not. You're not. You're an American. Like, your grandparents were Venezuelan. You're American. Like, get on board. And
I mean, I think that like if you wanted to raise your kids reading German fairy tales, right? Because you're German by descent.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's part of history, it's part of culture, it introduces them to the world. Like, that'd be cool. That's great. You can acknowledge that your family's German and this might be a particular whatever, giving them, you know, some kind of cultural context. But I don't think you're going to be like, and that's why we only support Germany despite living in the US. Right? Like, you can have these cultural touchstones that you share with your family that might shape your family's unique way of celebrating certain holidays or Christmas or whatever. Like, I know there are like specific Spanish ceremonies in like Catholic masses, like,
or Jewish people do their Hanukkah thing, or
whatever.
Like, fine.
Like, ultimately, if you live here, I think it is good to be happy to be here. I don't think that, and again, like, if your parents came here illegally, that doesn't mean that you have to be like, so everyone gets to stay illegally.
Yeah.
Like, let's, you know, I'm glad that I am glad to be an American citizen. I want to do things right. I want to do things the legal way. Speaking
of doing things right, Swimmeroo says the media gave her a pass for the elder abuse she committed against her husband. Yes, they did. And, you know, I'm surprised. He probably doesn't make it out of 2026.
They already announced he had cancer, and we barely hear from him. I mean, we got a statement out of Kamala Harris about ICE. I haven't seen anything from Biden.
Yeah,
if he released it, had no fanfare.
Yeah. So the new SNAP work requirements are now going to affect on February 1st. Shout out, leave a like on the video for that. Millions at risk for losing benefits. No. You're not at risk at losing and it's not a fucking benefit. It's a entitlement. It's a handout. Stop calling it a benefit.
It's a safety net. It's an emergency fund.
look, we've always said this before. Look, if you're on SNAP and you're working, I don't really got much to say about it. Like if you're working and you're on SNAP, or you're physically disabled or mentally disabled, or you're taking for, like, I don't have a problem with it. Like, I'll worry about the small amounts of fraud that exists in that community. I'm talking about the 40 million Americans that are on SNAP. Some communities, there's an expose done about a particular Jewish community in New York that had like a 95% food stamp rate, and YouTube took that down.
Did I send that to you?
I don't know, but I was like, this is spicy. Like the whole community is all on welfare. I'm like, what the hell? But like, so nearly 42 million Americans, again, that's 10% of our population is on food stamps. That's unacceptable. You know, I don't understand how that happens. I understand poverty is a thing. I understand people get in and out of jobs. Fine. If you're in between, you get a little help. Fine. It's when I see these 400-pound land whales who are doing Costco Snap haul videos and they're eating better than me. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, and you know, like Minnesota was another state that refused to let the government audit their SNAP benefits. Wisconsin, where I live, has wild numbers of SNAP people, like millions of people on SNAP in a small state. You know, under President Trump's new mega bill, I think it's the big, beautiful bill.
Yes.
Work requirements were amended for certain Americans to receive benefits for more than 3 months over 3 years. What's wrong with that? You have 3 months to find a job in the best economy in 20 years. And if you don't, and by the way, there are also all sorts of exceptions that apply. You can volunteer. You can do all sorts of stuff to still qualify for your SNAP. You just have to do something. Right. You know, like I don't have any problem with this. You know, under the mega bill, no, big, beautiful bill, the upper age limit for those who need to meet work requirements was raised from 54 to 64. Fine. For the first time for able-bodied adults without dependents.
I can't believe it was 54. That seems so low to me. 54
is outrageous. Like, no, 64 is okay. Fine. 64 is a fine upper limit because you should be getting close to being able to be on Social Security and, you know, this, that, and the other thing. But like, additionally, exemptions were changed from parents or other family members with responsibility for dependent under 18, lowering the age of exemptions to those caring for children under 14. You know, millions of people will be unnecessarily. No,
like if you have a high school student, you know, they're just more autonomous than if you have a 3-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. It's all, yeah, it's true. You know, exemptions were removed for homeless individuals, veterans, and young adults who were in foster care when they turned the age of 18 under the mega bill. Well, I don't know how many homeless people are getting SNAP because I don't know where it's getting mailed, but
because that seems like it would open up for fraud, like someone claiming in a homeless person's name, which I wouldn't want.
And you know, again, they're trying to say veterans. Which veterans? You know, like this.
Because wouldn't veterans qualify the way everyone else? The one about foster care is interesting to me because it's like, so you age out of foster care and you immediately get benefits because you were in foster care, but wouldn't like you just age into benefits because you're 18?
Right.
And, like,
why should you be automatically getting benefits anyway? Get a job. I don't care
also,
if you're a foster kid. That means you can't work?
Well,
that's nonsense.
And my thought would be like, so there are some, not everywhere. Some states have really interesting and good programs that they offer to kids in foster care who are about to age out to help them with like initial rent assistance or like stuff that like maybe your parent would have done. Right. Yeah, and like sometimes the social workers don't always like, I listened to this girl talk about it being like, I had to know that it was out there and demand that they give it to me. Not true everywhere, not true in all circumstances, but like the money for automatically enrolling foster care kids, maybe there's a better way to set them up. Because I get it, like if you don't necessarily have a family structure to help you launch at 18, like I can understand the instinct to want to help them, but automatically enrolling them in food stamps doesn't necessarily seem like it's the move. Yeah.
Lump sum, not forever payments.
Right.
You know, you get $2,500 to set yourself up right. If you blow it, you blow it. You're not getting any more. Like we saw, you know, a lot of the conversation around SNAP has kind of gone away without, you know, the federal government's open again. But there were something like 14 to 20 Democrat states that refused the federal government to audit early on when they were doing these audits at I think the FDA is in charge of it, they were finding like hundreds of dead people that were like multi-claiming, all this shit that like everyone should be on the same page. Like,
well, and it reminds me of the fraud that was carried out by the Somali groups in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's taking, either you're charging the taxpayer extra to cover this, or it's taking money from people who really need it to, make it easier for you to basically not have the same responsibilities as everybody else.
Yeah. I look, again, I'm not a hardliner. Like some people are like, no handouts ever. I don't think that that's okay. Yes, you could do that and people will just die. Fine. I guess you could say that. I think we live in a society where we can help people out every once in a while. Look, if I have to send money, $900 million to fucking, some desert town so they can wear condoms when they rape goats, I think we can help some of our own people when they're in between jobs. I'm fine with that. But
it makes it hard to want to be generous when it's like, but the system is being abused and broken and you're not allowed to correct it.
When a lot of this goes back to what you've talked about is there used to be a time when you needed help that your family would help you. Mm-hmm. And because our government and Democrats have really, and liberalism has really sought communism, Marxism, these are core tenets of like breaking apart the nuclear family. Right. Like if you're in a married couple and one person loses their job, it's not the end of the world generally. Okay. Maybe the guy works some overtime, the girl works some overtime, you figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Your mom, your brother, you have a family unit that can help you out in a time of need. But since family has gotten so destroyed over the past 25 years, I mean, look what it did to the Black community. I mean, the destruction of the nuclear family in the Black community is why the Black community is suffering as bad as it is today.
It has long-term socioeconomic consequences as well as psychological for the people involved with the broken family structure. I also think that it correlates to the time when people were discouraged from being religious. And
yes, the church used to help people and still do. We help people all the time.
A lot of people do. I mean, this is something that the Mormon church does pretty intensely, that they are there to help their community members because they are very community oriented with the wards and whatever. It's interesting that, the things that would have helped you outside of government are particularly damaged and neglected right now.
Yeah. Church is such a great thing to bring up. Like at our church, we have, I would say, hundreds of people in our church that get free food from us every week. People just donate to it and the church takes care of it, and they come to church and during the week, they get their box of food, and we just did this thing over Christmas where we delivered like 2,000 Thanksgiving dinners or something like that.
That's so cool.
Like you have to. I mean,
I've known a lot of churches to have like essentially just like a emergency hardship fund for like community members
that you can
lose
apply
a job
for.
or whatever. Yeah, like it makes a difference. And I'm not saying it covers everything, and I'm not saying they can do it in perpetuity. Maybe the way the U.S. government can because they tax people, but it didn't have to be the government all the time. And it encouraged people to be involved with their community so that if you were on hard times or if you could pay it back or pay it forward.
Yeah. A couple of viewer comments here before we kick it over to Vivify. Crossfaith Army says, I feel alone being a libertarian. You can be a libertarian, just don't be a lulbertarian. I used to call myself a libertarian, and then I've seen some of the takes coming out of Dave Smith lately, and I'm not so sure
I'm always
anymore.
Sympathetic to the libertarian movement. I used to consider myself a libertarian. Libertarianism is hard because there are certain things that I feel
look
really
who won
strongly.
The party, a pro-vax, pro-lockdown lunatic.
Libertarianism has to span a wider spectrum than like left or right does, because there are left-leaning libertarians and right-leaning libertarians. Like I am very Pardon?
Hippies are a thing, and they want to be libertarians too.
There are libertarians who believe in order to have true libertarianism, you have to have open borders. But there are other libertarians that are like, no, the only way to truly have libertarianism is to have a secure border with a community that's in cooperation and has the same shared philosophy. Like it's a large umbrella or a large terminology, I would say. Don't feel alone.
Yeah, don't be. Drex is on you as Baldus. I grew up in Lake Havasu. 90% of the town is a retiree community, and the other 10% are kids turning into woke tards. Town only has 2 theaters in 10 plus years. Not once did I ever get the wrong ticket. Yeah, exactly. I think we kick it over to Viva Fry. By the way, if you're a new viewer, welcome. Yeah, welcome in. We'll be live again tomorrow at 2
back.
Eastern. Come back. We'll have Melanie Mack with us. It's a little bubblier energy on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we hope that you enjoyed the show, and we hope that you'll remember to click through to the channel or click that green follow button. It's absolutely free to do. And I just want you to get notified when I go live, because sometimes I go live at night, sometimes I go live on the weekends, and
he's a wild card, this guy.
Yeah, you never really know. And then make sure you go follow Hannah Claire over on Rumble and YouTube and X at Hannah Claire B. On Instagram, it's hannahclaire.b to follow her there. And I'm also at The Quartering News on Instagram too. And we'll see you in 22 hours, everyone.